The member from Renfrew, Nicholson, Pembroke.
My question is to the Minister of Energy. The Ontario Electricity Support Program is a rebate program for the 500,000 lowest income households in the province. Today, we learned from the CBC News story that only 34,000 households have applied. Speaker, that's less than 7% uptake. Despite this, the government will still collect nearly $145 million from ratepayers to pay for the program. If that money isn't claimed, I would ask the minister, where will it go? Will the minister return that money to the ratepayer? Will the money be returned if the program doesn't use that cash?
Thank you. Minister of Energy.
Mr. Speaker, we're very pleased to have worked with the Ontario Energy Board to create the program, the Ontario Electricity Support Program, Mr. Speaker. And the Ontario Energy Board has been doing very, very extensive promotion and advertising, Mr. Speaker, to get enrollment in the program. They've had radio commercials, they've had billboards, they've had advertising in newspapers and community newspapers across the province, Mr. Speaker. There's no time limit for them to apply, Mr. Speaker. We would have hoped that the take-up would have been larger at this particular point, Mr. Speaker, but they still have as much time as they can to move forward with it, Mr. Speaker. The funding for that, Mr. Speaker, through the Ontario Energy Board is based on the basis of estimating the take-up over a longer period of time, Mr. Speaker. So it's not possible to answer his question at this particular point, Mr. Speaker, because in fullness of time, Mr. Speaker, we'll have a...
Thank you. And before the supplementary, the bantering back and forth stops. Carry on, please.
Speaker, his answer proves that this is just another one of their shell games. They had no idea what they were going to get when they instituted this, and now they're caught there with not knowing where to go next. If the enrollment stays low, they won't need the money they've collected for the program. But if they hang on to it, that's the definition of a cash grab. It's not just the lowest Ontarians that can't afford electricity. Every Ontarian is taken aback when they open their hydro bill. Businesses and middle-class families are struggling day in and day out to pay their hydro bills. In Liberal Ontario, you even have to think twice before plugging in your Christmas lights. Speaker, the auditor already showed that the minister is overcharging Ontarians by $170 billion. If enrollment in this subsidy stays low, will the minister see the error of his ways and return the money not used by the program? Simple question, yes or no?
Minister of Energy.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to ask the critic for the opposition why he just voted against a bill that would have taken the debt retirement charge off residential and accelerated the withdrawal of it from industrial, Mr. Speaker. He voted against that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thought he would have learned more from his father. You know, his father was an MPP, and I have something from the Eganville Leader. They did 50 years ago repetition of some of the stories that appeared, Mr. Speaker. And there was the issue of hydro rates were raised by the Eastern Ontario Development Association, and the MLA for Renfrew South had to account for the government. His name was Paul Yakabuski. The member was 8 years old at the time, Mr. Speaker, and so he comes by the subject matter of rate increases very, very well. But there was no answer from Paul Yakabuski from Renfrew South as to why the conservative rates were escalating.